Welcome to Markets Plus, where leading experts from across BMO discuss factors shaping the markets, economy, industry sectors, and much more. Visit bmocm.com/Markets Plus for more episodes. The views expressed here are those of the participants and not those of BMO Capital Markets, its affiliates, or subsidiaries.
My name's Michelle Havens, and I'm the head of U.S. Private Wealth at BMO. For a third consecutive year, BMO and Latino Leaders magazine have partnered to release the Latino Leaders Index 500, spotlighting the 500 largest Latino-owned businesses in the U.S. by revenue. To recognize the impact and influence of Latino entrepreneurs, we recently held an event at BMO Stadium in Los Angeles, hosted by Eduardo Tobon, BMO's Latino segment head. This Markets Plus episode is an edited version of the discussion, which covered key economic forces shaping Southern California, strategies for business resilience, and how public and private sectors can collaborate to foster sustainable development. I hope you enjoy it.
Thank you, everybody. My name is Eduardo Tobon, and I'm the Latino segment head for BMO Commercial Bank. What a pleasure and a privilege for all of us to have you here tonight. And I'm going to ask every one of you to comment on this. Southern California's economy is pivotal, and it's going through a lot, right? How do you think your businesses or your city are preparing to navigate growth while maintaining financial stability? If I can start with you, Kelly, and I'm going to go to Cástulo next, Joshua and Isaac, and then Cristina, ask you to close.
Thank you. So I run the Department of Economic Opportunity, and we are all about inclusive and sustainable growth, as you heard. So not growth for growth's sake. We're here to support an economy in Los Angeles that is equitable and that does see growth, but growth that contributes to our workers. We know that it's been a tough time. Our department started in the wake of COVID. We are experiencing a climate crisis. We just had fires that have devastated so many of our communities. We have an administration change like you just saw. We have budget crises at the state and local level. And we're here today celebrating Latino leadership in one of the most diverse counties in the country, if not the most diverse. And we faced, historic disinvestments and disproportionality in outcomes for folks here in our region. So yes, there are a lot of hurdles that we have to overcome for our workers, our small businesses and major industries, of course, but there's also a lot of opportunity. I think the way that we're thinking about it at the Department of Economic Opportunity is one, let's get the information right. So I appreciate the coalition building. So right now you're going to see us working in partnership with many in this room and beyond to put out information on the economic impacts of the fire so that we can make good decisions about rebuilding the Palisades in Altadena. You'll see us putting studies out around bioscience and aerospace and organizing around industry clusters because we have major industries that support, everyone from our colleges, our entrepreneurs to our businesses that are looking to invest and make LA their home headquarters. And we also are looking at the gains. We know that folks weather the uncertainty that they see, and LA's and any major region is no stranger to uncertainty. Capital's a major concern, and so we saw the data that folks are worried about investing right now, and so the county's investing. So we're working to make sure that folks have access to public sector contracting as well as contracting opportunities with LA28 and many of the other infrastructure investments that are happening now, and also making sure that folks have the ability to acquire capital or access a revolving loan fund. We know that folks need good information to make decisions. They need capital to be able to realize their ideas. And they also need partnership with government to be able to break through that red tape and also build the right coalitions to get the work done in a region that's the size of a major country.
Thank you so much. Cástulo?
A bit chaotic, a bit ambiguous in terms of what the future holds for all of us. One fact, that $2 trillion reduction in expenses, there's about $880 billion over a 10-year period that would be impacted on Medicaid services throughout the United States. That's a heap of a lot of money over a 10-year period in the Medicaid space. Secondly, I did want to comment, we were one of those organizations that lost a clinic. 6,000 patients were impacted. We had to close another 5, 6 clinics. We are ready to rebuild. We're very anxious to rebuild our facility. I run, and I have had the privilege, yes, I was at the East LA Barrio Free Clinic, long hair, goatee, probably interview with Sandoz, a recent graduate of the School of Law from Berkeley, way back in 1977. I saw a long line of people waiting to receive care, and I said, I bet I can make a difference here. 48 years later, I'm still there as the president and CEO. I started with 2 employees. Today we have close to 5,700 employees, about 11,000 visits. We have close to 650,000 patients that we see through our facilities, 80 plus facilities. And instead of the 55,000 budget that we had at the time that we're operating, we're approaching actually $3 billion at this point. One of the challenges that you see when you operate nonprofit organizations, and I've heard it from economists, I've heard it from historians, I've heard it from professors at different universities, USC, and I have a good friend there who has repeated, you cannot make money in poor communities. Well, I'm here to disprove that. Not only have we done very well in the nonprofit sector, which is the federally qualified community health center, but over the course of the last 5 years, we have opened up 3 for-profit companies in underserved community, primarily serving Medi-Cal populations, and we have done very well. In that period of time, when all of us are living through something called COVID, we grew about $1 billion in the for-profit sector, building healthcare access to populations in need. Who better than ourselves? Who better than ourselves who understand the problems of our community to be able to come up with the solutions? And the interesting thing, way back in the day when I graduated from the law school back there in 1977, came back to the East Los Angeles where I grew up, confrontational politics, everything that we did was confrontational. You had to fight for it. You had to pit. And it was on everything, discrimination, equality, access to capital. We had to fight for every single inch that we want. We built systems. We built process. We built institutions. And the interesting thing now, here we go, it's 4 or 5 decades later, working with those underserved populations and communities. And today we're the model organizations of providing care that's accessible to populations in need, in the language and the culture that is appropriate for them. So one of the recommendations that I would make, and I want to make it brief here, please, if you have an opportunity to speak to your congressman, to speak to your senator, to speak to an elected official, ask them to please continue Medicaid programs, because all Americans deserve a right to access to health care. Health care is not a privilege. It is a right, and we should make it available to all people. Thank you.
Isaac, would you like to get your perspective?
I think on the Northgate side, as we think about, navigating growth over these, next years, and for us, that's what's made us successful, right? And for us, it's having an authentic food experience for all of our customers. As we think about growth, we think it's, very important for us to communicate our strategy within our organization, thinking internally as we think about growth, to have our associates really think about and believe and understand what the strategy is for us to grow moving forward. I think alongside that, something that we think about as we grow the business is, which investments are gonna, drive our strategy moving forward. We think about, systems that we can have in place to scale and grow the business. We also think about the people side, right? Making, having the right talent in place, our talent well-trained as well to really be able to drive our strategy. And then thinking about the products and services that we bring to the community, really elevating, Mexican food and Mexican culture in our areas. These are the areas that we're working through and that we think about as we, navigate through growth over these next years.
Thank you. And last but not least, Cristina.
Thank you for having me today, having us. My husband is here. Thank you, Josh. As a leader, you have to find certainty in the uncertain moments. That's it. That's why we are leaders, right? We had to find inside ourselves, and we had to self-manage before we manage people. We do cardboard recycling, so we do a byproduct of the economy. If something really bad happens, it would be a little bit only for us. We are in the heart of the Inland Empire. Cardboard is everywhere, so we are serving a universal need of the planet. We're not servicing, we are more like a universal solution for what the planet needs today. So what I said is uncertainty, what we have to do as a leader, it's a little more simple than maybe you guys want to hear. It's mindset. It's find inside you that strength that is to continue moving forward. And it's a little bit of the Tony Robbins words that it was what helped us grow in our business, like doubling year to year, tripling since 2016. It was just mindset, right? Like you get it, put yourself in a state, and you can do anything. So I would say that, and providing health to your employees, that is super important. And beyond health, what we provide with my husband, we are such an advocate for wellness. All our employees meditate. I lead the meditations. They do breath work. And what we see is a transformation from the illnesses and potential illnesses that they will have in the body to having a reset nervous system, to feeling super safe, to providing that for them, right? Everybody talks about providing a family. We're a family, and at work, are we really a family? Sometimes we're not, just words. And I think we do our very, very best to provide that for people that didn't have maybe as much safety in the past. We work with them. We work in breathing, meditation, and might not be the traditional answer you're looking for, but that's what I would say.
That's very important.
And then wellness for them, and breath work, and meditation, and for them, and sometimes their families too.
Thank you for sharing that and for sharing the perspective. I'm going to now ask specifically Kelly. You mentioned in your remarks about this event in the world coming to Los Angeles. You're having in 27 the Super Bowl coming to Los Angeles. You're having the Olympics coming to Los Angeles in 28. So every year, and I'm sure that the many more events that are coming to the city. So what can these companies here that are present today, as well as the general public, perhaps learn in terms of how to participate in any of these growth initiatives with the city?
Yeah, thank you. Well, first of all, I would say we're not only the entertainment capital of the world, but we're the sports entertainment capital of the world too. So while we have all these big events coming, we should capitalize them for the most community benefit that we can muster and the growth that we can muster. But thinking about mindset, getting in the mindset that we need to build, our workforce, our supply chain, everything to continue this sports entertainment competitive edge. So we do. We have FIFA coming. We have the Super Bowl coming. We have the games coming, and so many more events in between. Plus, like just having amazing teams that are playing all the time. And you need almost every sector activated to make that happen. The games themselves are going to produce billions and billions of dollars of spend. And so we are encouraging our business community, large and small, to get ready for that spend now and in the future and build the capacity for that. And so that's one way that the county is thinking about this, which is helping folks get certified with the County of Los Angeles, the City of Los Angeles, Metro, and others. Take advantage of capacity building programs, access county contracts now, as well as others that we can support at the local, state, and federal level, so that when opportunities come from pencils to bridges for any of these events, you are ready, you are connected, and we can support that connection. Because our goal at the county is to set high commitments with LA28, with everyone else, to make sure that that spend happens locally, that whatever addressable spend is out there goes to our local business community. So how do we activate our commercial corridors in the meantime around our venues, which are still being finalized in all aspects of the county, our mobility hubs, because it's going to be a no-car Olympics and games, and also making sure that no matter if you're going to an event or not, you have the ability to access the excitement and pride in our games from festivity sites all around. And so there's going to be a lot of opportunities to, build your brand, take advantage of those contracting opportunities to diversify your own funding streams in a complex environment, and make sure you've got the workforce necessary to do that.
Thank you for that. I wanted to spend a little bit of time with you, Cástulo, today for you to share how you build this most respected healthcare network that you have done. But specifically, you talked about the program Escalera. You talked about the need, to train people. So your organization has had tremendous success with the competitive edge. You not only strengthened the patients, but the community engagement. You attracted and retained top talent. You talk about the nurses, the ability to sort of bring in additional talent into the organization and bring workforce stability, position the organization for long-term growth. So could you talk a little bit more about that?
Well, thank you very much for the opportunity here. There are two concepts that go back decades. For that, there was a product of that civil rights movement, Martin Luther King, Cesar Chavez, when there were requirements to graduate from Berkeley Law School at the time, that you had to take over one building or two buildings before you graduated from Berkeley. It was not volunteer, it was mandatory to do so. Some of you may not even, may have read some of those things in history books. Some of us lived through those experiences. There's some concepts about controlling your own destiny. There's concepts about self-determination, controlling your own well-being in any society. And I think that what we try to do early on is to build those concepts in the things that we were involved with. I mentioned confrontational politics. It's sort of moving back and looking at ourselves. What can we do to improve our community? But to respond directly to your question, we built a healthcare delivery system that we are probably one of the more important systems and networks today in Southern California, with almost 700,000 patients that we serve on an annual basis and visits are in the millions. It's an important system. It's a very important system serving a very important communities, I should say. One of the things that we early on recognized is the need for doctors and nurses and professionals. 48% of the population in the state of California is Latino today. 6% of the doctors that are practicing in California are Latinos. 4% are Latinas. Nursing is no better, with about 6% nurses today are Latinas, when again 40% of the population is Latino. Our idea was, if the institutions are not training them, we'll build our own. So we built residency programs. We're graduating our own family practice residents out of AltaMed. Our engagement after they finish their 3 years, it's 100% stay with AltaMed Health Services, compared to Kaiser, that graduated in 1917 of them left Kaiser, and only 2 of them signed up with Kaiser. Very happy. Got a nursing program now. We're training our medical assistants and our certified nurse assistants. We pay for all the education. We pay for all that they need. Again, training our own. And we have gone way beyond that. We've reached out to the junior high schools and reached out to the high schools through Escalera program, involving young kids in the health profession, all the way up to medical schools and onto the residency programs. That, I believe, is something that we need to do. And at some point down the line, I would love to open up a medical school in Southern California, educating our own population. What is the difference between a residency program that AltaMed Health Services is able to offer than what USC or UCLA, the schools of medicine, are able to offer, or Children's Hospital? We're in the community, practicing in the community. We also have rotations in hospitals, but it's a very different practice being in community. We've been enormously successful in that. We're going to continue to grow that. And by the way, I would say one other thing. We have an initiative that we're starting on I raised about $5-6 million at this point to organize an effort with an initiative to increase admissions into medical schools. However way we need to take care of pipelines, we're going to work in increasing the pipelines into medical schools, into nursing schools. One last thing that I would say. We've also invested somewhere in the neighborhood of $10 million in Get Out the Vote effort. Mi voto, mi salud. Latinos have the lowest percentage of people who vote, who actually vote. And you have people what are called low propensity voters. 10, 15 years, they gave up 10, 15 years and said, I'm not going to vote anymore. So we have invested a significant amount of money, pilot that we did in 2018, and have every year supported this effort to get Latinos to vote. Hugely successful by all accounts. Researchers at UCLA, UC Berkeley, as well as UC Riverside have validated a significant increase in voter participation. Once they vote, they will continue to vote. That is probably one of the most important things that we can do in empowering a community. Besides the training that we do, get them to vote, to take interest in the issues in their community, and ultimately make decisions who represents them in Congress, in the legislation, or in local jurisdictions.
Thank you, Cástulo. That was very important. So we have the benefit of having both Joshua and Isaac with us today, and I thought of asking each one of them a question. Joshua, I'll start with you. From a business development perspective, you run strategy there and you help with strategy. How do you ensure long-term sustainability across generations?
I think the first thing that's kind of a soft skill is, we are grateful for the opportunities that, this country has given our family. We know that when our grandfather came here from Mexico, if it wasn't for this country and the opportunities, we wouldn't be where we are today. I think we come from a place of gratitude, first of all, but we also are a purpose-driven organization that know that we serve not only underprivileged communities, but also, communities that need access to high-quality experiences, high-quality food, and high-quality jobs. And we are, not only are we dedicated to doing that, but we also, have a pulse for the business. We're on our stores, we're in our distribution center, we're in our offices, we spend time with our people in the community. And I think that gives you a certain pulse that you have to be there to understand. And for our family, that's key to staying close to the business in our community. So I think that's really fundamental.
Thank you for that. Isaac, now to you. From a financial standpoint, how do you balance fiscal responsibility with growth initiatives to maintain the company's legacy?
Yeah, legacy is very important. At Northgate, we're actually celebrating 45 years in business this year. And, Northgate in the early years, the founders took a large amount of risk, right, in starting the business and starting the first locations. But really over the past 10 to 15 years, we've been a conservative company, conservative financially, conservative with growth. As we move forward, we're very much, dedicated and have aspirations to grow the business aggressively. And as we grow the business aggressively, we've really set some measure to us, and then those investments. As we move towards growth, hitting these three measures and really keeping them in line is something that we look at to make sure that we do keep our legacy as a family.
Thank you. Please join me in thanking everyone here on the panel tonight. Thank you for their participation.
Thanks for listening. You can follow this podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcast app. For more episodes, visit bmocm.com/marketsplus.
For BMO disclosures, please visit bmocm.com/podcast/disclaimer.